that economics plays a critical role in education, or education plays a critical role in economics and the society at large. So we started with the Greek philosophers and the Roman philosophers who looked at economics of education as a way in which the society can gain knowledge and pleasurable pursuits to be enjoyed. On top of that, people like Adam Smith looked at economics of education in the form of creating a morally upright citizen, a citizen who is able to think critically for the benefit of the society. Then David Ricardo and Robert Malthus, they looked at education in the aspect of a means of developing attitudes and habits conducive to population control and maintenance of civil liberty. Then next thinker was John Stuart Mill, who did not want to look at the treatment of human beings as purely capital goods, but as a mode of production. So we invest in education so that we can be able to create a workforce that is capable of doing useful work. Then Alfred Marshall, who came in the 19th centuries, looked at the profit motive of investment in education, and that he emphasized the need for parents to invest in children education because on its own, it will be able to meet the demand of labor force, resulting to creation of wealth and promotion of social harmony, social peace, and self-improvement. Then von Thunen advocated for human capital theory and saw schooling as a means of helping citizens to create more national wealth. Lastly, there is Karl Marx, who looked at education as an equalizer. That is to say, when you invest in education, be it you are coming from a very poor family or a rich family, you will be equalized at the end. We do not have a bachelor of maybe a bachelor of education early childhood that is for the rich students and for the poor students. At the end of it all, when they are looking for job market, or you are looking for entry into a particular job, the entry is you must have a bachelor of education in this area. So whether you are coming from a rich or from a poor family, you will, once you get that job, your pay will be the same, and therefore you have been automatically equalized. Then we went to contemporary economists of education, and some of them were Theodore Schultz, who was regarded as the father of contemporary economics of education. And he argued that the development of human beings should be seen or should be considered as a process of investment in human capital that can be utilized in effective production or productivity. Others like Eric Hanushek, 2021, looked at the quality of schooling as key to advancement in economies, and he drew a direct correlation between economic growth and the quality of education, and realized that there is actually a direct relationship. Then from there, we went to the human capital theory, which is referred to as the theory of investment in education. And this theory in investment of education some of the proponents, one of them is the one we have just talked about, Schultz. There is also Dennison. They argued that education should not be viewed as merely a form of consumption, but rather as a productive investment. In fact, Schultz asserts that education does not only improve individual choice available to men, but that educated population provides the type of labor force necessary for industrial development and economic growth. Dennison conducted a longitudinal study between 1930 and 1960 and found that a substantial proportion of the United States of America economic growth between that period was actually contributed by investment in education. And I even gave you that example of a country called Korea. Korea, by the early 50s, it used to be, before 1950s, it used to be Korea. But the country split into North Korea and South Korea. Now, if you compare the two countries, you realize that number one, North Korea is so much privileged in terms of mineral resources, but South Korea has very little mineral resources. And therefore, South Korea invested in human capital between just immediately after the Korea War. Right now, when we discuss about North Korea and South Korea, there is a big difference. South Korea is a very, very rich country, but North Korea is still a very poor country. In fact, before 1960, Kenya was far much richer compared to South Korea. But right now, we are still staggering as a third world country, while North Korea is among the first countries. It is actually in the top 20 richest countries in the world. And that was all attributed to investment in human capital after the realization that they did not have natural resources in terms of mineral resources that can prosper economic growth. Now, central notion of human capital theory is that individual and government decisions to spend on education are investment decisions that involve foregoing present consumption for future benefits. And these future benefits could be either monetary or non-monetary. Then the second thing is that skills and knowledge acquired are a form of capital that are embodied in man. And the skills that you acquire and the knowledge is inside you. So it's a capital that is inside you. And that human capital is a direct, is directly correlated to education. So human capital investment is directly linked to the investment in education. Then the human capital element yields return just like any other investment, In fact, I still have your scripts here, which I would want your class representative to come and pick. And I want to pick on one